Hello, you're watching Eye on Africa on France 24. I'm Clarisse Fortuné. Coming up on the program. Violence flared in Kenya, leaving at least one person dead as police confronted protesters over an Ebola quarantine center planned for US citizens. President Ruto's government has vowed to press ahead with the facility, saying it owes Washington 4 years of aid support. Outrage over the US ban on a referee who was set to make history as the first Somali to officiate at a World Cup. Omar Artan, who'd been voted the African Confederation's best official, was turned away at Miami airport over vetting concerns. And like Barcelona and San Francisco, Cape Town is feeling the strain of overtourism, with a growing share of homes reserved for visitors. Now, the South African city is weighing new fees for short-term rental owners. We head first to Kenya, where one protester has been killed during clashes with police. Hundreds were demonstrating against an Ebola quarantine center being built for US citizens arriving from the Democratic Republic of Congo. The DRC is currently battling a major Ebola outbreak. Construction of the site has temporarily been paused, but Kenya's president is vowing to press ahead, saying Nairobi owes Washington 4 years of aid support. Delana de Souza has more.
A protester taken into custody in central Kenya after clashes broke out between demonstrators and police. Anger mounting in the country over plans to open an Ebola quarantine center to treat American citizens. While construction of the facility was halted by a recent High Court order, building of the site continues in a tourist town with authorities intent on pressing ahead.
We are rejecting Ebola and we are saying the Americans going to take their Ebola and go back to their country.
Before coming to Kenya. Laikipia is not a dumping site.
Kenya is not prepared for Ebola. Kenya is not prepared. It should be taken to Trump.
While Ebola continues to spread in the Democratic Republic of Congo, there have been no outbreaks of the virus reported in Kenya. It's resulted in ordinary citizens questioning why the government would want to jeopardize the health of their own population. Kenya's president, meanwhile, recently said Nairobi was making the right call.
The debate here is not about whether to set it up or not. The debate is, are we doing the right thing? Are we not? And I can tell you without fear of any contradiction, and I can look at everybody in the eye and tell you we are doing the right thing.
While Kenya's government has not commented on the court order banning construction of the quarantine facility, it's supposed to disclose all agreements related to the center. The US military, meanwhile, continues to ferry in equipment and personnel for the site, while it earmarks over $13 million for Kenya's Ebola preparedness.
And meanwhile, the virus continues to spread. Of the 550 cases confirmed as of Sunday, over 100 have resulted in death, while 19 people have recovered, according to the latest situation report. Ongoing attacks on health workers from angry residents, skepticism among some local communities, and armed conflict in hotspot areas continue to challenge efforts to stop the spread. Emily Boyle has more.
Gloves, goggles, and hazmat suits. These Red Cross volunteers suit up to carry out a harrowing task, burying an Ebola victim. But despite their precautions, it is not only the virus that they need protection from.
Our job is very difficult, and our security isn't guaranteed. We're always in danger. When we arrive at the cemetery, people say that we are the ones spreading the virus.
Frequent attacks make an already dangerous exercise even more perilous, as burial teams are unable to correctly handle infectious bodies under the strict protocols designed to prevent contagion. In some cases, teams were even forced to run away and abandon the bodies, which were then handled by members of the community, a high-risk practice that can fuel new chains of infection.
We face a lot of problems in our work. We don't have enough equipment, and in the field we're constantly being attacked and insulted. In fact, a few days ago our colleagues were beaten up in Nia Morongo. They were violently beaten, and some were seriously injured. They are still in the hospital.
In the past few days, there has been an increase in reports of attacks on Ebola burial teams, evidence of the mistrust which continues to hamper response efforts as officials try to curb the spread of the Bundibugyo strain. Over 500 cases have been declared in the DRC and almost 100 deaths.
Now, the World Cup hasn't started yet, but there are already many disappointed fans. More than a quarter of the countries taking part in the tournament are facing travel restrictions of varying degrees to the US, meaning many people who already have tickets are having their visa refused. The restrictions are also affecting those taking part in the tournament. A Somali referee has just had his visa refused by US customs officials. And Ellen Gesford tells the story.
Omar Artan had been set to make history as the first Somali to referee at the World Cup finals. But that dream has now been dashed after his visa to visit the United States was refused on arrival this Monday. In a statement, FIFA said the decision was out of its hands.
FIFA is not involved in host country immigration processes, including visa adjudications, and has been informed by authorities that Mr. Artan's status will not be changed at present.
Somalia is on a list of countries currently under a US travel ban. Tough immigration controls are a major part of Donald Trump's platform, and the US president has introduced restrictions and bans for certain countries during both his terms. Fans are also being affected. More than a quarter of the countries playing in the tournament are facing either travel bans, restrictions, or higher visa rejection rates. Even members of the Iranian team's staff have not been exempted.
Unfortunately, several key members of our coaching staff whose roles are very important within the team were not granted visas. That includes the team manager, the executive director, and the media director, all of whom play very important roles.
Many fans who already have tickets are facing financial losses after failing to secure a visa, although those who bought their places on the official FIFA website will be allowed to resell them for a fee.
And Senegal's national team could also be missing a crucial part of its World Cup spirit, its fans. New US visa restrictions we're talking about are making it difficult for many supporters from Senegal to attend the tournament, leaving some to cheer on the Lions of Teranga from afar. Teranga meaning hospitality in Wolof. The Trump administration's immigration policy has made it difficult, if not impossible, for supporters from African countries to attend the World Cup. Some countries are being barred entirely, others face a partial entry ban. Now, dozens of Malawians have returned home under a government repatriation program, fleeing what they describe as worsening conditions in South Africa. Authorities say thousands more have registered to leave as concerns grow over violence and intimidation targeting migrants. Government officials in Blantyre say more evacuation efforts are planned as demand for repatriation grows. Justine Saidi, secretary in the office of the president and cabinet, said authorities were urging Malawians not to go back.
According to the situation in South Africa, it's not good, and therefore we are not encouraging them to go back to South Africa because these are our people. We need their lives. We need their support. We need them to develop the country. So we want them to be here in Malawi. We'll do everything possible to support them.
And in brief, a court in Senegal has sentenced a current school teacher for 20 years in prison for the rape and sexual abuse of 28 girls. The offences took place at a religious school in Touba, with the case coming to light after one victim refused to return and spoke out. The teacher had been on the run in 2023 before turning himself into police several weeks later. Burkina Faso has suspended all beauty pageants nationwide as authorities move to introduce new regulations governing the events. Officials say the measure is part of efforts to preserve and promote the country's cultural heritage while ensuring that public events reflect Burkinabe values, social ethics, and respect for human dignity. The decision comes amid a broader push by the authorities to strengthen national identity and align cultural activities with the principles of the Popular Progressive Revolution. Now, similar to places like Barcelona and San Francisco, an African city is carrying the weight of its own popularity. The city is Cape Town, where an increasing amount of housing is reserved for tourists. A new bylaw could allow the city to charge special rates for property owners who rent out their homes for commercial purposes. This report by Caroline Dumais, Stéphane Carstens and Eunice Masson.
Sarah has lived in Cape Town for 4 years. During this time, she has witnessed the housing crisis worsen significantly. Today, more than 70% of apartments in the city centre are dedicated to short-term rentals. The result? 6 months of searching for a place to live. Some of her friends have even been evicted.
Many people have problems with Airbnb because their apartments are often converted into Airbnb rentals to generate more profit. They try to discuss it with estate agents and landlords because you can't just evict someone within a week or anything like that. But many landlords are not willing to listen.
In Sea Point, apartment complexes like this one have been built specifically for the tourist market. Rental prices are driven by international demand, while many Cape Townians are being pushed out of the city centre.
The cost of living has honestly increased, and I do feel like it's more tourists who actually do stay in these like luxury, nice apartments.
Well, it might be a good thing for the economy, but it's a bad thing for old-time residents of these areas. But it's a trend that exists all over the world, you know.
Faced with the housing crisis, the city of Cape Town has decided to regulate the rental market. Under a new bylaw, property owners who rent out their homes for more than half the year will face higher rates.
The city is saying, if you're going to do that on a commercial basis, we're going to recognize you as a business and charge you a commercial tariff. And by using AI, we can scrape the calendars of those hosts on those platforms to determine how many nights they're available for rental for tourists or not.
The law will come into effect next year. The question is whether these measures will be enough to ensure that residents can continue to live in the heart of their city.
And this report concludes this edition. Thank you for watching Eye on Africa on France 24.